So Yoroshiku Negaishimasu. I'm playing some peace-loving Jinteki today, Jinteki RP, which slowly grinds out the win from the runner, and I'm up against Noise. Alright, I made it pretty clear that I'm not a fan of Glacier decks at all. I'm just playing this so that I can get an idea of the tempo of Glacier decks, in particular RP, and when it is at its weakest, so that I can improve my runner play from there. This Jinteki RP deck is your standard tournament deck with a couple of cards swapped out for some interesting choices. You can see my opening hand, there's Mutate, which is really off the wall. Mutate is a card that is specifically tagged inserted into my deck to counter, as you see right here, my very opponent, Anax, and especially Noise. Parasites are the most annoying thing in the world for Jinteki because a lot of Jinteki's taxing ice is low strength, Tsurugi, Pup, and Yagura. And in this case, I'm also running Data Pike. All of them are 2 strength or less, easily fall to a Parasite. So what I'm looking to do is, if they install a Parasite but do not blow it up in the same turn, I will mutate that ice so that I can get rid of the Parasite while hopefully getting a new ice, potentially better. I'm not running too many cheap ice. The only cheap ice in my deck actually is Pup and Eli. So as long as my mutate sees anything but a Pup, I gotta be pretty happy about it. Even if a Tsurugi mutates into an Eli, it's still a good thing. Eli is still extremely taxing in today's metagame, so I'm more than happy for that. Alright. Here I choose between Corporate Troubleshooter and Caprice Nisei to put in the remote server. Tough choice. In the end, I went for the Caprice Nisei because Troubleshooter probably will not do too much in that server. Alright, so he accesses my hand and I failed to defend my Future Perfect, so that's a huge loss right off the start. I really cannot afford to lose Future Perfects to the runner. Aside from the fact that, it denies me the ability to score 3 points. More importantly, it means that the runner only has to score 2 more agendas to win the game. Two of any agenda, for that matter. Alright, so I do keep him out with my Wall of Thorns, but now I'm pretty wary. He has 4 Data Sucker tokens. All he needs is 1 more, and he can parasite my Wall of Thorns down, and that would be pretty painful for someone who spent 8 credits to res it. I'm pretty poor now, but I'm feeling pretty good because I do have Mental Health Clinic on my side. And he's pretty poor, so now this is a chance to throw Caprice Nisei into the server and fortify it with Eli in case he does bring it down with Parasite. I'm not too concerned about rezzing ice over my centrals right now because none of them are in jeopardy. If he wants to pay 2 credits to see 1 card off R&D, so be it. Chances are he won't be able to steal the NAPD that's lying on top anyways. Alright, so he does get a good amount of cash off. He has his Wildside engine started up, even though that means he only has 3 clicks to play with, which is very bad for RP. He's getting the money, so that is a valid concern. The aim hit the table, and as soon as that happened, that was my cue to clear virus counters, which I think was a very good choice. Otherwise, he would run my hand, my R&D everywhere, and trash cards like no tomorrow. Then I rest the Tsurugi to keep him out. There's no point dealing 3 net damage to someone who has Wildside installed. Okay, that's pretty obvious. And moreover, he also has Data Sucker installed. No way I'm going to let him get free Data Sucker tokens to take down the very Tsurugi that's protecting my archives. Alright, showing my hand. Come get the Nisei if you can. I further fortify the remote. That probably was a mistake. I don't think I need to defend the remote so heavily. It is protected by 4 strength barrier and a 5 strength barrier. I mean, even if he gets a Corroder out, he still has to play the side game with Caprice Nisei, and he could get hit by Corporate Troubleshooter as well. Alright, I felt very safe leaving the Nisei in my hand because I know he doesn't have a Code Gate Breaker. So, alright, so now it's time to score. I don't have too many credits on hand, but I can still pull out a Nisei score, and that will be very important in stopping him from making some dangerous runs. So I do attempt to score Nisei even though I only have 6 credits. All I need to do is rest the Eli on the remote, keep it rest, and that will be good enough. He runs R&D. I decide not to rest the Eli. I want to score Nisei and 3 credits left over so I can pull off the celebrity gift. So I take a risk, let him through to R&D. No, another future perfect. That's not good, not good at all. And even though at least I managed to stop him from stealing the future perfect, he has him installed, which means he can trash my future perfect. Uh-oh. Not looking good. Not looking good at all. Definitely cannot allow him to steal the second future perfect, and all he needs to do is to keep running archives. Thankfully, there's a Tsurugi protecting it. Not anymore. He seems to have his eyes fixated on that Tsurugi. Parasite goes on the Tsurugi, and the worst news happens. It trashes my NAPD contract. He's pretty rich. He got a cash setup. He has ESOP setup. Oh gosh. This is looking horrible for me. So now I have to kick my contingency plan in. Play the mutate. Mutate the Tsurugi. Thankfully, it pulled out another Tsurugi. So that saved me. At least for now. But I still have 5 points worth of agendas in my archives, enough for him to pull the win off. So that is really bad. And I just realized he has a clone chip installed. Good lord. Yes, the Parasite comes on the table. He has Grimoire installed, so Tsurugi is gone. I am so screwed right now. Okay, maybe I wish that was an Eli instead. Okay, so he stole the NAPD because he's rich. And we play the side game. I'm forced to spend 2 credits. He still has 1 more click left, so he'll run, try to steal the future perfect. Do I spend 0 or 1? I choose to spend 1. Because I have a mental health clinic, so I can get 1 credit back. Trying as hard as ever that one of the other 2 Jacksons left in my deck appear magically on R&D. Nope, it's a Sundew. Well, nothing much I can do about that. Well, I'm pretty screwed. And the worst thing is that Enhanced Login Protocol has been trashed because he stole the NAPD. So he does get 3 clicks worth of runs on archives next turn. 4 clicks if he chooses to trash outside. So good luck. I decide to click for credits and play the Sundew. So in the event that I do get my 3 side games spot on, I am actually gaining some money while he's not making any progress at all, aside from accumulating data cipher tokens. But well, I couldn't keep it up. I get 0 and it was locked, so he stole the last agenda to win the game. Yeah, when you play Glacier RP, it is sometimes a game of luck. Especially when you're playing Mutate in the same deck, yes, it really becomes a game of luck, and especially with Future Perfect. I run 3 Future Perfects in this deck, and yeah, it really boils down to luck, side game luck, and it is an element that I'd rather not have in my deck, hence I am not liking this even more. I don't like having too much luck in my deck, and worse is when I'm playing as runner, I certainly don't want to leave my fate to a side game. Unfortunately, that's the case, and yeah, I came out on the losing end this time round. But looking at the Mutate, it was a very good include, even though it didn't really make any difference because he had a clone chip out. But had I fished out a better piece of ice like the Tollbooth, War of Thorns, Eli, things could have been different. Well, but Noise is a tough runner to play against no matter what. Nowadays, he can get so rich very quickly with the combination of ESOPs and cash. It's pretty ridiculous, to be perfectly honest. And once the runner, especially at Enak, once an Enak has money, he can do some really crazy things. No longer are NAPDs a threat. No longer are fortified servers a threat because money can get you through all these servers. Well, it was fun and didn't really learn much except that I definitely should have dedicated more eyes to the centrals, less to the remote, because remote pressure is not something that Noise can cope with very well. The Eli on top of the War of Thorns was more than sufficient. I should have, especially since there was a Caprice Nisei in the server already, I should have just defended that server with just be happy that, be content that Caprice will defend my server for me and focus on protecting the centrals instead. Against Noise, I cannot afford to leave archives that wide open. That cost me the game. Thanks for watching. Happy net running.